Hey, Jen.
Hey, Kev.
Oh, look at you and your rig for what, indoor growing?
Getting ready. It's time.
Very nice. So starting from seed.
Yep. You want to know how it works?
Sure. Tell me it.
Well, first of all, pick your seeds, right? Figure out what you want to grow. Whether it's this whole area, start with a couple.
Yeah. Couple different options.
Once you pick that, then you go to your trays. So let me show you the tray first.
Please.
All right. This is where you put seedling mix.
Okay. So individual ones for a seed or two in each.
Yep. This holds it up. It keeps it elevated. So when this goes back into this tray, this is the reservoir.
Yeah.
The drainage, this is helping with drainage.
Oh, so that we don't overwater, or so that they're not sitting in water.
So they're not sitting in water, because you don't want them to sit in water, otherwise they'll start to rot.
Nice. Okay. And what are we putting in there?
So this is the planting medium that you put in. It's a seed starter mix, right? So this is filled with organic materials, peat moss, perlite, which is so when you're watering it, the water goes pretty much straight through it.
Yep. And specifically, you want to look for the stuff for the starting of
Exactly. And there's a big difference between potting soil and starting. And then this is a seedling heat mat. It keeps it warmer. What we do is, yes, take that tray and you set it on, and it just helps with the germination so the plant doesn't freeze and go into shock.
So room temperature may not be warm enough for them. This is going to solve that problem.
Right, yes, it depends on what your room temperature is, but it wants to be around 70-ish degrees.
Got it, okay. And then the lights, obviously, if you're doing it indoors, we got to get the proper light. This is your rig here?
Yep, so these are UV lights.
Have to have UV.
Yep.
Yep. Do I need something as sophisticated as this? Because this looks like you're really getting after it.
Well, I have to.
It's true, I know.
No, you definitely don't need, I got this for the organization. It tucks nicely into a corner, but you could use something like this light. It's really easy. You get online anywhere. You get any of this online. And then this just hooks to a table.
Yep, and put these over your starter
Yeah, and then you can go smaller scale. You can just line up one of these trays if you want to start small.
Okay, so this is the gear. What about timing? Like, I can't do this all winter long, right? And doesn't it matter what I'm trying to grow?
Yes, okay, so what you do is look back to the previous year's average frost date in your area,
so
right?
The last frost of the season, whatever the average is, that's what
you're basing it off of.
Okay.
Then look at your seed packet. On the back, it says different weeks for different seeds. So this one says for these 6 to 8 weeks, right? So you go back from the previous year's frost date, say it was April 20th, go back 6 to 8 weeks from there, and that's when you start.
Huh. Okay, and I presume it's going to be different germination times and different lengths of times for different plants. Some are long, some are short?
Yep, there's the cold season crops that come out earlier that are safer to put out and they thrive in that weather. And then, so those are like cabbages and broccoli and stuff like that. And then, for example, the second wave would be like tomatoes, basil. They have like a more fragile leaf and they don't like the cold as much.
Yeah, it's starting to get complicated. Now I've got to really
Well, this is where you get your journal.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
right?
My seeding journal.
Sit with your cigar in the corner with your seeding journal, right? And then you say, okay, this is when I planted this at this date. These are the 4 things I want to grow in the cold season. And when those transition out, say you have lettuce or spinach, then those are done. You take them out and then put the other plants in their place. It's a whole sequence thing.
Ma, the tomatoes are ready. Put them in the yard.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. Gear, methodology, all the stuff we need.
Yeah. Perfect. And it's fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
really
welcome.
Good. Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.